Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with a brand new Platinum Trophy Guide, and that is going to be for Lies of P. Now in these videos I'm going to go through each area and show you guys where to grab the important things that you need, such as weapons, trinkets, things like that, that'll help you progress through the game. Now, I'm not going to be picking up everything on the ground to save on time, but I'll be showing you guys how to progress through each area, and if there's a tough enemy that you'll have to deal with, I will show you the best methods that I use when fighting them. And of course, I'll be showing you guys how to get all of the trophies and get that platinum. Now, starting off in the game, we're going to have our first trophy that we can get, which is for destroying an enemy's weapon by doing a perfect guard. Basically, whenever you block a weapon, right whenever you're about to get hit, it's considered a perfect guard. So that means you won't take any actual health damage, and eventually, if you do this enough times, you can break enemies and certain bosses' weapons. So do keep that in mind. Now, while we're on the topic, there is also another trophy you can get right here. As you'll see, if you come up right behind an enemy, you'll get that weird dash mark or blade-like attack. Basically, that is a fatal attack. You can also trigger these by doing enough stagger damage to enemies, but overall, that should be your first 2 trophies of the game. So, I'm going to go through and show you guys how to go through the Krat Central Station and getting your next trophy, which will be just on the other side. So, I'll see you once I've cleared everything out. Alright, so as we progress through each area, like I said, I'm going to point out the important things. So right here you'll grab your pulse cells. Basically this is your healing item of the game, so don't worry about that. But from here you're going to come up the stairs and off to the right here. Basically just showing you guys how to progress through this area and where to go. Now, another thing that I'm going to be helping you guys do is find all of the normal weapons as well as showing you how to get all of these special weapons. You will need to get all of them to get 2 trophies as well, and then you will need to at least upgrade 1 normal weapon to plus 10 and 1 special weapon to plus 5. As long as you're being thorough with your exploration aside from these videos, you should get enough upgrade materials along the way to slowly progress, and then eventually you'll have on certain ones you can find vendors and give them new items. Coming down the stairs here, if you're feeling like you can't take on this enemy, here's a shortcut door for you. So as you'll see right here, we have our first quote-unquote tough enemy of the game. As you'll see, the game will teach you about certain things. As you can see. But once you take him out, you'll get the Krat key, and you'll get your first actual upgrade for your defensive parts, getting the Workshop Union lightweight frame. Basically, as you progress through the game, you're going to get upgrades that will give you better defense stats, but the downside is they will weigh more. Now, you'll be able to check up in the top right your weight. As of now, we're doing just fine, and we aren't suffering any penalties. Pretty much, the heavier your equipment is, the longer it takes for your stamina to recover, and you actually do move slower. Certain areas of the game will require you to be lightweight and have no penalty to progress, which is a pain, but it is what it is. So coming out here, you'll have your first Stargazer or Bonfire if you are a Souls veteran. This is your safety or rest point. Once you've activated this will get you your next trophy. Like always though, I'm now going to show you guys where to go from here to get to the next Stargazer and all of that good jazz, and then we're going to be taking on the first boss of the game. From this Stargazer, if you just follow this path that I take, this will get you to the next Stargazer. Now, everything from here to the next Stargazer that you find on the ground is more or less just going to be consumable items. There's nothing of importance just yet that you'll be stopping to get. So as you follow your way out here, you'll want to head to the right. This is the area where you will be taught about fury attacks or red attacks, where an enemy will glow red. Now those attacks cannot be dodged, but you'll have to either be spaced far enough away that the attack won't hit you, or you'll have to perfectly block at the exact moment to make sure the attack does no damage. Coming up here to the right, you'll have a shortcut right here that leads back to the previous area. But coming off here over to the left, as you'll see, we have our next Stargazer. Now we also have our first merchant of the game, and he's going to sell us the remaining weapons that we didn't pick. So one of the 3 classes that you chose will get you one of your weapons. As you'll see, we have the Puppet Saber, but we didn't have the Wintry Rapier or the Great Sword of Fate. So while you're here, you might as well should just buy those to get those out of the way. Now do note, you can't always come back at any point in time. He doesn't go anywhere. But from here, we can now head on up and take on our first boss. Now for the sake of things, I will let the cutscenes play out for you guys to enjoy. So now we can take on the Parade Master. As you'll see, parry attacks or fury attacks are going to be important. This is definitely a skill you guys are going to have to eventually get really good at. As you'll see, spacing really does matter. But the Parade Master shouldn't be that hard of a boss. Now, if you don't want to perfectly block, then you guys can still dodge. So that is not an option that you don't have. You'll just have to be good on your timing, as you'll see. But the whole point is that you really want to do these perfect blocks, because that allows you to stagger the enemies a whole lot easier. But just like that, the Parade Master goes down. That will get you your next trophy. Now, certain bosses do drop their specific ergo chunk. So, in the actual menu here, as you'll see, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see rare ergo. Now, only boss souls that you can use later on in the game will be put into that category. Now, I highly recommend never consuming those unless you're on New Game Plus 2 or you're on your 3rd playthrough of the game, you know, just to avoid accidentally using them. But coming up here at the hotel, off to the right here on the other side of the fountain is your first upgrade material of the game, the Hidden Moonstone. You'll basically have multiple versions of these. You'll have your little small one, then they'll progressively get bigger till it's a full moonstone. Coming up to the door here, you'll be asked a very important question whether you are a puppet or a human. You basically want to say that you're a human. If you say you're a puppet, nothing will happen, of course, but upon doing so, you will get your next trophy. So you have successfully lied for the first time. But now the tutorial is finally over. Now inside the hotel you'll meet Sophia, and you can finally level up. Now the hotel is pretty small, but there is a couple things to note. First things first, if you come over here and talk to Lady Antonia, she'll be an important character, an NPC, and she'll give us our first emote of the game, and give us a new costume that we can wear. Now, like I said, I am going to show you guys how to get everything, so I will also show you how to get all of the emotes, as well as the NPC quests as things like that have trophies related to them. Now if you come over here and talk to Eugenie, she will give us a new left-hand weapon and ability. Now one quick note I will mention at any point in time is if you come out here to the training guard, you see your Fable Arts will recharge. Now if you're ever struggling on a boss or want to have full Fable Arts, you can always come back to the hotel and then recharge them like so. Here you have Paulandina, who will basically be our main shop, and he will sell us things, and then we can eventually give him things to expand the shop. Now from here we're going to head out, head past the little fountain here, and we can now head to our next destination, Elysian Boulevard. Now, as always, I'm going to show you guys how to go through Elysian Boulevard and how to get whatever items we need, as well as the next couple of bosses.
Let's be more careful. The Black Rabbit Brotherhood. I hate these guys.
So, as you'll see right in front of us is our next Stargazer.
We'll talk later, when we're safe.
So, once everything's cleared out, I will be right back. Alright, so to progress through Elysian Boulevard, you'll just follow the path that I take, and this will get you through the main path and will get you some shortcuts. So coming into here and off to the right, you'll swing around again to the right, and just to the back here you'll find a chest that will have a new upgrade part for you. The Lada F-150 frame, basically more physical defense. Now coming up the stairs here, and just off to the right in this little kind of cove or alley, you'll find a ladder you can ascend. From here, if you want to grab your first shortcut, if you come off to the left and take another left, you'll have your first ladder, which leads right back down to where we just were. Now coming across this rooftop here, you'll kind of have a tough puppet. He's in a white coat. He has a little bit more health and is a little bit harder to stagger, but defeating him will get you your first star fragment of the game. This is an item used for summoning a specter to help you out for bosses. Now coming down here, this is your next shortcut. If you head down this ladder and then continue in the area, there's only one puppet down there and a door you can open up. Continuing along the main path though, you'll have this ladder to take right here. On this rooftop, adjacent to us, there is two puppets that will like to throw shot canisters at us. So be careful as you progress, as they can deal a lot of damage and can stagger you, so the ones you're having to fight can melee you. Coming down here and following this path around, though, in this room right here, on this couch, you'll find a frozen man's letter. Now, reading this letter will get you the remembrance gesture. Do note that not all of the items to pick up will be like that. There are only specific ones. But coming right here, you'll have this big boy. As you'll see, he is a kind of a beefy boy. But he goes down all the same. And just like that, you'll get a couple of items. Now do note, some of the stronger enemies are more likely to drop items than your standard run-of-the-mill enemies. Now here you'll get your first amulet. This will basically be a, as you'll see right here, this will give you a small increase to your HP. Coming inside here, we'll have our next Stargazer. and just off to the left you'll see a major shortcut that's locked, and you'll find our next vendor. Now if you're looking for a new weapon to deal with all of these puppets, then you'll want to buy the electric coil stick right here. This is a fairly decent weapon that does quite a lot to puppets as they're weak to electric. Now, like always, I'm going to go through, clear everything out, and show you guys the main path as well as shortcuts and all of that good jazz. And we will also have our first NPC quest line that we can complete in this episode that won't get extended to another one. So just keep that in mind. But the game is also fairly decent at letting you know about your NPC quest lines. Some of them, not so much as others. Like always, from here, you're going to want to just follow the path that I take. Coming out here onto the rooftop, if you come here and take this first ladder down, we'll come around this corner here, and you'll find a chest with a Workshop Union Standard. Basically another upgrade material. But from here we're going to want to head back up the ladder and then continue along the main path, as everything else in this area is basically just side stuff, but it is still worth grabbing. There is a couple of things. Coming over here to this area, you'll have your first dimensional butterfly. Now there is a trophy related to finding and at least defeating or slaying all of them. Do note that there's only 3 in the game, a red, purple, and an orangish yellow. Coming into this area here, you're going to want to drop down, and this is our first NPC we can do, the Weeping Woman. She'll ask us to find her baby for him at Krat Central Station.
Should we check it out?
Now from here, if you drop down, you'll have your next tough enemy to deal with. And we're also going to be getting a weapon from him. But as you'll see, the more of those successful attacks that you can block, the easier it'll be to take them down. After defeating him, you'll get his police baton, and then we can now head out from here to unlock a couple of things. From here, if you head outside and off to the left, is a shortcut back to that lower area that I mentioned you can't really do anything else in except grab some things. Now coming over here, you'll have a patrol guy bust out of this area, and this will allow you to activate this elevator. This will take us back up to that previous Stargazer. As you'll see, ta-da! So now we can head back down and continue along the main path. For the sake of things, I'm just going to run past these guys. Now we'll be on the Alchemist Bridge, and here we'll have our next boss fight against our first human enemy. Here we'll have the Mad Donkey.
You can't sneak past me. Die!
Now don't worry, he is a human enemy.
I'll kill you both and string you up on the bridge.
His swings can be a little bit fast or slow, as you can see,
Cursed puppet! Back again!
and is very hard to stagger him at times. You can also get behind him for a fatal attack. As you'll see right here. If you really just want to make the fight easier on yourself, you can just do that.
Cursed puppet! Back again!
But just like that, he goes down, and that will get you your next trophy, the Bastards and the Sweepers. You'll find and meet Geppetto. He'll give you the Mad Donkey's outfit for some reason, and the ability to assemble and disassemble your weapons. Now we're immediately going to use that to get our next trophy as well. So coming over here, we'll have our next Stargazer. Right here. Now you can do this at Eugenie's, or you can use this at the Stargazers. As you'll see, you'll now have the option to assemble and disassemble weapons, as you'll see right here. All you're going to want to do for the trophy is just disassemble the weapon and then reassemble it, just to make life easier. And that will get you a trophy. Now you will have to re-equip the weapon, of course. But like always, I'm now going to go through the area and show you guys everything that you need to grab. From this Stargazer, we're now going to be following the main path like I always take. Looks like I missed an item. Anyways, coming up the stairs here, if you head off to the left, there isn't an enemy, but it's a shortcut to reduce the run back to the boss just up ahead. But before that, if you come off to the right over here, as you'll see, we have another big guy that we're going to have to take care of. As you'll see, charged R2s or heavy attacks really make it a whole lot easier than it has to be. But just back here you will find the broken baby puppet.
No survivors here.
Don't worry, we will finish that NPC quest in this video.
Give her that baby puppet.
Now coming inside to City Hall, just on the left you will find your first important amulet, the Puppet Destroyer amulet. Basically, I do believe this gives you anywhere from a 10 to 15% damage increase against puppet enemies and bosses. Now, this is a Spectre summon, so any star fragments that you've gotten from enemy drops or pickups will allow you to use them and summon a Spectre to help you fight the boss if you're struggling with it by yourself. As since this game has no online or co-op, this is the closest you're going to get. Now, I will state that one cool thing I noticed about the Spectres is they do use the weapon of a boss that you can get the weapon from, which is pretty cool in case you want to see its moveset. If not, oh well. But now we're going to take on the third boss of the game. Now we have the Scrapped Watchman boss fight. This is probably one that a lot of people are going to struggle on, because it really is all about that timing. Like I said, if you aren't comfortable doing perfect guards, then you don't have to. But it does help to have them down. After about half of his health is gone, he will get empowered with lightning. Do note when you do those fatal attacks that they actually do get rid of the recoverable health of the boss. But just like that, the Scrapped Watchman goes down, and that'll be the third boss taken care of. As you'll notice, some enemies and bosses will give you quartz, which we'll go over in this video as well. But for now, the first things that we're going to want to do is actually teleport back to the inside house on Elysian Boulevard. I want to just make a run to the lady, and we're going to give her her baby. So for the most part, you can run past pretty much all of the enemies in the game. But like I said, there are some that you do have to fight to progress. Now if we come over to this woman here, she'll ask us what we think of her baby, and you want to lie and say it's a cute baby. Now this will affect you. As you'll see, your springs are reacting, and this will also get you your first record. Now, the main thing as to why we're doing this is because there's a special weapon in the game you have to get called the Golden Lie. Now, in order to get it, you'll have to basically reach a certain point of humanity as well as tell enough lies in the game. Now, for the most part, I'm going to recommend not listening to any of your records and just wait until later in the guide or later in your playthrough, as it will come in handy. But for now, if you use the pocket watch that Sophia gave you, you can return to the hotel. Think of it as your homeward bone of sorts. Now, once we are back at the hotel, there's a couple of NPCs that we can talk to. As you can see, you can always talk to Sophia. If you come over here, you can actually get a new arm from Eugenie. But we're going to stick with what we have. Now if we come up here, now you can take either side of course and come to the back here, and we'll head to Geppetto's room. He will then give us a key, and we'll now be able to use those quartz and unlock some new things. So now you have access to your P organ, as you'll see. This will give you certain aspects that are pretty important. Now, as you level up and get more quartz, you will then get more abilities and passives. Basically, whatever helps you progress. Now, I like to start off with the enhanced stagger of charged attacks and the increased ergo of eliminating enemies. Now, if you want to look through them, you can, but that will get you, pardon me, your first upgrade. I highly recommend going for the link dodge, as dodging is very important. Now, whenever you get more quartz, you can always come back.
You can get from City Hall.
But that is pretty much going to do it for this first video in our Platinum Trophy Guide for Lies of P. Hopefully it wasn't too long, and hopefully it showed you guys what you needed to get along the way, as well as maybe helping you guys see how to take out the first couple of bosses in the game. As always though, this has been Mr. Pilgrim, and I will see you all in the next video.